Or are we? Are we live? Yes, we are live. Hey, everybody, it's me, True Powers Mine, and this is TPIM SR Live. Today's guest is Rhonda Rokki Harper from Black Girl Surf. We have an exciting show. We're going to be talking. Well, you know what? This is the perfect day to have it on because our dear leader, Air Trump, recently last weekend said some tweets. I can't understand why I can't get that out. Rhonda, do you have any opinions on the tweets of the commander in chief concerning go back to where you're from?
You know what? Really, it's even beneath me to even discuss it. The dude is just he's a racist. Everybody knew he was racist. This is what happens when you hire a circus clown. You get a circus, and so the ringmaster of all idiots is now in the White House, and we just have to deal with it. And the only thing you can do now is vote to get him out, because you see right now the Republicans aren't going to do anything. This is what we get for the next 18 months. This is where we are.
See, I don't know why I shouldn't have went off with that, because that probably got the show demonetized just because I had the audacity to ask a opinion. These are opinions and testimonials I do on the show for legal purposes. So, Rhonda, could you please give me your opinion of military service, the pros and the cons?
The pros, and I'm not even sure if it's real pro anymore, is that you could get an education. And back in the 80s, you could get a Nissan Sentra. I mean, that was the way that for poor people to actually acquire cars. They knew that their military service would solidify, their credit history. So that's what they did in the early 80s and the 90s. And then, you have the GI bills and all the educational bills after that. After that part, I don't see anything positive. That's it. I mean, from the time you get off the bus to the time you come back home, that's it. I don't see it.
Nothing.
And now, looking at the state of the country, you look back and you go, why did I even sign on a dotted line? You get all up in Mets and you got your butterflies all in your stomach. They taking pictures of you naked, and then, you're out here having to defend yourself as a human being in the country that you signed on a dotted line for. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of.
That is ridiculous. I mean, from a female's point of view, black, white, yellow, I don't care. Why? Okay, hold on. Let me get this right. Do you, as a woman, still feel unsafe when you enter the dorms, or you was actually on base with your male counterparts? Was there still that?
Oh, no.
There was none
I
of that.
wouldn't trust him now, just like I didn't trust him then. I mean, like I said, we talked about this one day, and I was telling you, like, we had a whole 2 barracks shut down for 2 weeks because they were sexually harassing the girls. And they had threatened us because I called somebody a redneck, and they thought that was the equivalent to all the sexual stuff that was going on at night without because there was no guards.
Right.
Nobody's doing patrol. Nobody's doing none of that. So I mean, it's free loving there sometimes, and it's crazy. So you have to put a stop to it at one point, and I guess they tried me, and they tried the wrong girl. But they tried me so many times when I was in the military, which is the reason why I'm probably one of the only people that's got adjustment disorder, and that's only because I stood up for myself. That's what an adjustment disorder is: loss of military bearing and adjustment disorder. It means that you can cut somebody out on that base, and it was somebody high in the chain of command, and it was.
Wow. And it causes.
I mean, I didn't go in as a child.
You were just doing what came natural?
Yeah. I mean, as a 28-year-old, you have already understood. By then, I'd already worked in tech. I was already like a comptroller from a company. I'd already gone to college. I was one of these little pimple-faced 18-year-olds that come off the bus, and they're all scared and yelling all in their face. I happen to know that the tile on the floor is a 12 by 12. So it's best if you put your shirt, if your clothes, put your shirt on the floor and use the lines. I mean, those are the kind of things you just know when you're older. So you don't get caught up in that, your squad is, that all that little barracks bull they be trying to pull on you to keep control. When you're older and you go in the military, there's a kind of stuff. So.
What do they say? What happens in the dorm or barracks stays in the barracks and all that nonsense? but it's time to kind of have real disclosure. I mean, I find it funny. I don't know if you follow the Area 51 deal where they're talking about, yeah, we'll gun you down if you try to storm Area 51. But then it's like, on the other hand, our borders are wide open.
I just thought Area 51 was like in some movie. I know the myth about it from a long time ago, but I haven't heard. I keep seeing it, like little hints of it online. But when you start talking about that stuff, pay attention to it, because like the real aliens are in the White House. That's
and they're orange. The real aliens are orange. No, I'm not gonna say that. I don't want to get in trouble. But now, can we start? Let's go to Black Girl Surf and what you was just talking about, the classes that you guys just got finished doing.
Oh yeah. So Black Girl Surf is a training camp for girls who want to compete in professional surfing, even if it's at the amateur levels where you're in the ISA. Excuse me, you're in the ISA, which is the International Surfing Association. You don't get paid for that. That's the Olympics. So that's more like those contests are you're on your way to the Olympics. Whereas professional surfing, every time you go out, as long as you place 17th, you're getting a check. So those are the two differences. And so we're trying to get more people and more women of color, because right now there's not one African American surfer on the pro shore,
not
or
one
the amateur shore, not one. So and I mean African American. Let me not say, because when you say Afro, you're talking about a diaspora. So
yeah,
there are some Afro Latinas that are currently in the QS system, but no indigenous African is on the circuit, and no African American definitely is even at that level where they even talk about. So that's what we do at Black Girl Stuff. We try to find them, recruit them, bring them here, train them, get them all the publicity they need, because you need sponsors, so you need to be seen. And then we send them off on their way to where they have to go. And right now, Haju, who's here, this is her year anniversary today.
Yes.
We've been with her for a whole entire year. And it's amazing, because when I woke up this morning, I was like, where was I last year? And I was like nervous, because we didn't know. This was a test model. We didn't know how this was going to work out. But and it wasn't easy, but it turned out to be something great, because along the way you pick up different chapters. So whereas we had 2 in the beginning, which came from KK in Sierra Leone, we now have an entire camp in Senegal, and an entire camp in Sierra Leone, one in Jamaica, one starting up in Côte d'Ivoire, and now we just added on Nigeria.
Wow.
Plus we're already here in the United States. So we're expanding. I mean, we could always use money, and we're always struggling.
Well, where can we send money to you?
We have a GoFundMe, Black Girl Surf. It's GoFundMe.com, Black Girl Surf. And that's with 2 S's. I want to keep saying that, because people are like, I can't find you. And I'm like, it's 2. It's Black Girl Surf. And so, so that's what we're doing now. And we're just waiting right now, because they have, and this is funny, this is really weird. And it's good. It's a blessing, but it's kind of like, it
is.
It's a double-edged sword here. So Haju went home and started training athletes to go to the Olympic training. Well, they needed 5 to qualify. They had 5 qualifiers, and she happens to be one of them. Well, there's a couple of other girls that she trained that are now in the qualifiers with her too. So it's a blessing, but it's weird and it's in its effect. But we're glad, because she was the first and she was the only. So we're happy. We're proud. Actually, we're proud of all the girls, and I think we have some boys. We have boys too, right? Going, yeah, boys too that are heading towards Japan too from Senegal.
That's awesome.
So we're stoked. Yeah, we're stoked, and then we're setting up with. We just partnered with Sierra Leone Surfing Association, and this is always what I want to point out. I went to Africa to keep it from being recolonized by Europeans. Once you put foot in one of these countries, you have to be careful of what you do, because you can't ask for something and not expect the onslaught of foolery that comes along with it.
Wow.
What I mean by that is, as soon as I landed in Sierra Leone, soon as I decided I was going to have the contest there, here they come, the colonizers. One from Ireland, one from the UK, one from Italy, one from Finland. Here they come. So now they want to take over surfing in Sierra Leone. Wait a minute. There were already black surfers there when you got there.
Right.
Right? So I have to partner, and this is ridiculous. I have to partner with people to keep people at bay. I'm doing this since I started my career. I've had to intervene where you see some bad and you put yourself in a position, especially you have the knowledge to fix it, and put yourself in that position, and then you do good from there. You don't see that and then like stand by and say, oh well, let's just see how that turns out. If I had stayed back and waited to see how that was going to turn out, none of the stuff that's going on right now would be going on. And I mean, black women all over the world are now starting black girls camp, surf camp. There were none. There were none. And now the WSL has attached themselves to our hip, and I'm more than happy to have them here. I've been talked about joining them because, everybody thinks that that's a sellout. That's not a sellout. I only train surfers that compete pro.
Right.
Let's go over that again because people get that confused. If I only train athletes that are going pro, then I have to be part of the system. And you can't sit behind the doors of the system and complain about it. What you do is you turn the knob, you walk through the threshold, and you look them in the face and you say, look, this is what we need. This is what we're missing. We don't have access. How do we get this? Can you hook us up with this? What can you do for us? And then you sit down and you negotiate the terms. You don't just give them the whole farm and say, we're not going to do, you give me and we're not going to give you. No, it's going to be a give and take because in the end, this has to have a foundation. This has to have a starting point, yes. Right? And if you go in there with foolery and buffoonery, like it's been happening, like I've been sitting back watching for the last 15 years down there in LA, then, it was just time. I couldn't just sit there and let this happen again. And I do this every 10 years. I'll come up with something really good, right? Because I'm waiting for, they always say, well, black men always say, well, we should be the leaders. Well, we let you try.
Mm.
Yeah, I let you try a few times. And then what happened? You got the bag and then you didn't do shit else for your community. Ever. Nowhere. And then you started infighting, broke off, and became two different fractions. So, I mean, what was I supposed to be trusting any of the fractions when they were one entity? I wasn't, right. And I didn't. And I said I was going to set off on my own and find my own path because I had my own vision. And I didn't need somebody, and I especially didn't need a male tell me how to get from point A to point B when I'd already ran a company, Fortune 500 one. So I didn't have no problem, getting myself humble, getting dirty, and figuring out how to really make this thing work. And that takes time. It
does take time
to get to this point.
It does.
You can't just, and then with them, you got to make sure that you have. And when I say them, I mean white folks. You have to have a certain skill set coming in, right? Because they expect you to be an ignorant Negro when you walk in the door.
Right.
But then they start talking to me, and then the ultimate insult is a compliment, right? It's a backhand compliment. Because the ultimate insult is, man, you are articulate.
Wow.
You really articulate at that point. As if I was going to come into a conversation in a corporate setting and get all ebonics on you. I mean, I could, but I'd have to mix in some $50,000 words at the same time. We're not just going to sit there and be ignorant. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can get ignorant, but it's going to be educational. You got to get something out of it. So my point here is that, somebody eventually was going to have to come through these doors. I already hear the reverberations in the community. And I just want to say this for the first time out loud on the record. I really don't care.
Speaking of the surfing community, have you seen the white nationalist aspect kind of rise more? Because we're getting more reports about Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, swastikas here, Nazi, KKK there.
Well, that's location, right? That's location and politics. So you're talking about Huntington, Newport. Those ones you're naming off, they're all in Orange County. And up until last year, Dana Rossberger, whatever, like Rossberger, from Mr. Russia, Trump's friend, was a congressman in that district. So of course, if you got a white nationalist in office who's backing Trump, of course your township, your district is going to be just as racist.
Wow.
And like I was telling somebody, I was even telling the story last night because I was doing a radio show last night. Take it over for another brother, D. Don Camonte, who was past surf brother. But I was at Honey Beach when I do water. When I stay out of the water on purpose, and the guy walks up to me and he says, "Can you watch my board?" And that's a surfer thing. Oh, sure, man, I'll watch your board. I looked down and it's Fox County.
No way. He's being cute. He's trying to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
wow. You gotta go to the bathroom, right? So was I supposed to be scared at that point? No, I wasn't. When he got back, I was like, "Yo, dude, that boy is sick," because it was like a Walden, right? I was like, "Yo, dude, that boy is sick," and just ignored the fact that he just tried to intimidate me. That pisses them off more than anything. And just act like they're not there because they don't mean anything to me. I mean, I get threats by the pound. I don't even care anymore. Like, I get threatened so much. It's like some of it just, like, unless it's, it's like about my family or something, then I get a little bit sensitive about that. But I get threats all the time. So when I saw that boy, I kind of just looked outside-eyed it real quick. But I knew where I was, though. And I knew that, you got an African surfer. Everybody knew who we are. It's not like we didn't know because this was last year. And we were already getting publicity. We had more publicity last year. I can't really say that. We about got even. It's nonstop. I mean,
I know.
That's a blessing because it couldn't. There could be a time where they weren't coming at all.
Right.
So there was, and it was just 2 days ago, last year that they weren't coming. You see, so a year, 365 days can change a lot.
Yes.
And I am appreciative for it, but we're winding it down now. We're trying to do the least amount of press. We did a photo shoot. There was a photo shoot for Vogue magazine this morning, and I wasn't in it. It was in Los Angeles. I wasn't getting in my car going down there for Vogue magazine. That's more political.
That's a huge magazine, though. That is still huge.
Put me at Military Times or some shit like that. And that's it. Black Panther Now or something. I don't know, but.
On the military basis, you just said something that just struck like a thought, ideal. Have you ever thought of reaching out to say like folks in Camp Pillington and all that to see if their kids want to learn how to surf?
We're going to do that. It was funny. We tried this in Hawaii, and the funniest thing happened because we were on the island of Hawaii, which is surrounded by water, by a stretch of imagination. And I walked up to some Americans who were military, and they were there for Martin Luther King Day because we were in Martin Luther King Day parade in Honolulu. And I asked her, I said, we're giving free lessons. There was two young boys there. I said, do you want to give us free surf lessons? And the boys are like, yeah. And the dad looked dead at my face and he says, we don't do water. And I almost choked to death because I knew I was standing in Honolulu.
We don't do water. Okay. Well, you could not do water, Mr. Want to crap on everyone's fun time, but let the kids go out and have fun.
How do you not do water and you're on the island of Hawaii? Like, that's all water. Like, I was like, dude, are you still like, but it wasn't once. It was repetitively. It must have happened 10 times that day. We ended up with some kids and we had a fantastic, it was funny too, because it was the Kappas and the Delta kids. But, it was funny to walk up to African Americans on the island of Oahu and have them tell you, no, we don't do water. It's amazing. So that's another thing too. So we added in a swimming. So we're going to try to get people comfortable with being in the water first.
Yes.
And then take it to the next level. Because we as people don't realize that swimming is not something that it should be I should learn or it's so cool. I don't have to learn. When I was in high school, you had to learn how to swim. And I remember, I had a pool in my backyard, so I was always swimming. Wow. My dad, he was in the Coast Guard. He was like, Rhonda, swimming is not a recreational thing. It is a life skill. And he's absolutely right. Because you can be in the bathtub, and you know what I mean, and not know what to do.
Right.
And drown.
And drown.
Right?
You sit up there and drown. You know, that was the big thing with these pools things, not allowing black folks to go to pools so that you can even get an opportunity to learn how to swim, because you can't learn how to swim in a
exactly
bathtub.
what that's all about. We had to walk like 7 miles to an all black pool because they wouldn't even let us in the pool. And this was in the 70s. All that segregation mess was already gone. But I grew up in a state of Brown versus the Board of Education, and they still hadn't segregated really that much when I started going to school. So,
wow. Did you ever feel like some of your teachers might have tried to derail you because they really didn't want to teach you?
I don't think it was more of a derail. Well, you know, by the time we got to California, it was mandatory. But when we were kids, it was more of an option because we went to Catholic schools.
Okay.
So they weren't even equipped with pools at that point. But the community centers, that's where we went, the community pool. And you couldn't be black and go to the white community pool. You had to go to the black one.
I thought they had laws even in the 70s that protected you to swim.
Yeah.
But I guess it doesn't work if the people who are supposed to protect you is going to come up and knock you over
and
the head.
It doesn't really work if you're in Kansas City either. Kansas is racist. I don't know. I'm so glad my parents left. Look, I don't know what was going on in their marriage. I know that over and over again they said if we had moved to California, we'd have got a divorce. I understand whatever your problem was, but thank you.
Well, you know, speaking for someone who lives in that geographical region, I think the reason why it's so prevalent back here because they feel empowered by thinking of romantic ideals of the Confederacy and owning black people, beating people up, and making them do your work. They find that romantic, so they try to keep it going. Well, actually, they do keep it going, not in the slavery part, but the hate part.
Oh yeah. Every time I go back home, see, I was born right outside Kansas City, Missouri. I was born at an Air Force base called Richard Gillard Air Force Base, Missouri. So I'm understanding that dynamic of Kansas City and Missouri and their fine line of racial love and hate that they've always had, especially because I lived on one side of the tracks and then moved to the other side of the tracks. And then everybody want to pinch the cheeks of the little black baby, like you love some sort of sandboard they found on the street. You know what I'm saying? And my mom's the head of the NAACP.
And you're out there doing flyers, trying to get people woke. You know, I just want to commend your mom and dad. They were brave folks to do that type of work in that type of time in that type of area. I mean, brave, just nerves of steel.
In the ACP, they were doing prison reform. My mom was like the head of the BPW, Business and Professional Women. I mean, they were just like activists all the way through and through. And so I think that's where I got most of it because I don't see it in my brothers and sisters. They're a little bit more theatrical and dramatic.
Well, you're comedic.
I'm like the voices of like if you got a problem, like all the kids got problems. They all arguing. I'm the one that just walks right in the middle of the group and just tells them all about themselves, and then it's quiet.
You know, yeah, it's that voice. What was that one movie, Dune, where the mother had this voice? She could make people do whatever she wants. You know, and do you think some of that came from your military training or just life in general?
No, that came from my parents. And that could have been because my mom and dad, well, you know, I'm military brat anyway. So even before my service, I was a military brat. My parents, you know, my dad went from one service branch to another. You know, he was addicted or something. I don't know. He was addicted to punishment. But I think that's where it came from because he still had that strict ideology came with a little leniency though. They was Kansas City players though, but on one side, that's the beauty of black people. We could be dignified, go to work, you know, we have a top job, be dignified, and then at home, you at home playing spades, drinking J&B, got gold tooth, nobody saw all week long. Yeah, they say he got a Casey's baseball hat on. You know, he got the Crown Royal under the table. You know what I'm saying? Like real KC stuff. And that's how I grew up. You know?
Had me at E&J.
That is you. I did. That was the thing. Like EJ, JB, like that was out the Crown Royal.
Oh yeah, that
I'm
little purple bag. What's in that little purple bag? You know it.
I'm telling you, you know it. Yeah. So that's how I grew up. So that's where I get all that. Plus, you know, with that kind of history of that state in particular, right?
Right.
You already have a complex racial
dynamic.
So then you add that with we're in South Missouri over there on the other side. I don't even, the two of them, everybody used to say, oh, Missouri's better, oh, Kansas is better. I'm like, nope, you both suck because you both is racist. Share a bridge or a vital. That's all.
Preach. One of the most creepiest towns I've ever been to out that kind of way. It was called Blue Springs. It was a little town.
Blue Springs.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Man, you know, we stopped off there. It was like a little club scene, man. I mean, it was like just packed with all haters. I mean, they might as well have a damn Nazi swastika fucking flag on the back wall. It was crazy.
I'm shocked. I'm totally shocked. But that's, you know, that mentality from back there, I'm telling you, if somebody said, well, is it still like that? And I said, well, I went back there a few years ago when one of my family members died. And I remember them telling us we had to hide the white girl in the back seat because we couldn't drive around Kansas City, Kansas with a white girl in our car. And I was like, what?
Why? Like, what's the penalty for that?
What is this? I guess what he was saying was they would instantly pull them over to see if that white woman was okay.
This is a safety check. Are you okay, ma'am? Good. Sure. You know, get your ass out of here.
I went into a mall out there. I'm so crazy, and I'm so glad I don't. We used to go there when we were little kids. We used to go to Crown Center and ride on the sleds and watch the big lights and stuff. My mom would take us out there, and I went out there shopping as an adult. On that same trip, went into the store, had $100 bill, gave a white man $100 bill for whatever it was. And he looked at me like I was crazy. He would not take that bill out of my hand. What? I had to give it to my white friend, and my white friend gave it to him.
Stop it. What kind of foolishness? What years was this nonsense?
It was like 2000. It was in the 2000s.
2000?
Yeah, it was in the 2000s.
See, cats like that, man, I know how people say I don't wish death or all that good stuff. Until people like that are up out of here, this world's never going to heal.
I kept saying that too. I said, there's just a generation of this hate, but you know what? I noticed it when I'm surfing that the generation before is teaching the next generation.
You know it.
There's a generation of people in the water that are my generation, and they're just straight up haters. And I see it when they're out, when Hodges out there in the water. And I see it when I'm talking to them too. They feel like they have some kind of entitlement, right?
Right.
Like, why is she getting attention and I've been surfing here for 40 years? Well, because you're white, number one. Number two, the girl came from Senegal. Number three, it's a female, not a male. 4, y'all been leaving people out of surfing for so long that she's an anomaly. So, of course, she's going to have cameras going behind her back. Now, if you just some regular old Billy, how is you supposed to, who's coming to tell your story? What story is it? What's the storyline? I'm privileged. My dad bought me a new board. The other day, we literally found a board that somebody had just, we watched him ditch his, he ditched his board. Here's the thing. I'm not sure. And there's no confirmation on it. So allegedly, because I've seen it, but I can't, but it went behind a rock. So either a seal chased his ass out the water or a seal was trying to make sure that he got back to the shore safe. So either which way that went, but there was a seal right behind him that went to shore with him, and he bailed on his board. And the little mermaid over here next to me, she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go over there," and she starts walking west, right?
Right.
She's like, "It's gonna come in." She's like, "It's gonna come in now. It's east." She's like, "It's gonna come in right over there," and I'm not kidding. That board did not come in that dead spot that she was standing.
Wow.
I was just like,
wow.
This is a person that knows the ocean. Like, she knew it that well that she could tell you pinpoint exactly where that, because it stayed out there for a hot good minute. And because the guy that's filming it, he was standing there. And he was like, this thing is going to go around the corner. Like, it's just going to dip and go around the corner. And she's still standing there. Next thing you know, here comes a wave. Ooh, washes it right to shore. We're like, oh, yeah.
You know,
But that tells you that her level of understanding
yes.
of current stuff.
I mean, but like you said, understanding, and that comes from time being out there in the spray, actually absorbing that knowledge. Because not to sound kooky or weird, but everything talks to you if you're only willing to listen.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
now
you said something in your story there about the black little mermaid. What is your opinion of the so-called backlash from Disney, of all people, making the Little Mermaid black?
Hey.
This gonna be good, yeah.
This is why I like coming on here, so because I get these surprise questions and then I'm forced to answer them. But listen, yeah. So, here's my thing. Africa had mermaid statues over 1,200 years ago that they were already found, and just like Lucy.
Stop. Just like Lucy, it all comes from there.
That's the end of my sentence. I'm done. I don't have nothing else to say after.
That was safe. It was good. It was to the point. Because I was a little harsher when I saw that story. It was a story I saw Christians against Black Mermaid, right? And I'm like, well, they're upset about the Black Mermaids. They're gonna go apeshit when they found out that Jesus was black.
It was funny as heck, though. I had to go up in his DM and be like, you know what? The funny part is that God don't like your gay ass either, and that's what you need to understand. So while you knocking on everybody's door talking about who God don't love and God shouldn't have made a black mermaid and all that without even knowing your own history, and apparently never took a anthropology class or no kind of.
We don't believe in science.
How we get here? Like, and then sometimes it's weird. You can catch me on a good day, and I will really elucidate on some of these things that go on in pop culture. But some of it is so stupid that it's just why do I have to it. And the fact that we just said the name of that page, and people gonna go to that page, the whole page is stupid.
Yes, I mean, I just found it.
And everybody answered, and there was a black girl in there that answered. You had to go up and sis DM like this. and sis was a transgender. I was like, sis. Really?
Wait, so hold on. Let me get this right, because I want to make sure I'm understanding. You're talking about a black transgender sister is mad that they're making a black mermaid.
So that group Christian thing is there's two admins on there. The other admin is a black transgender woman.
Wow. I bet you that's a deacon.
She's gonna be just like Susan Rice, Butter and Chocolate, or whatever their name is, Whisker and Biscuit, Dusty and Krusty. Yeah.
I think you're talking about sisters Diamond and Silk.
Them ain't my sisters. They are. No, that ain't my sisters. I know who sisters they are.
I bet you they got paid some serious.
I'll get butter, bread, and biscuit. You ain't got. No, no, nothing. I don't know. You remember them? See, nobody realizes that we as kids we were already hip to the crows, to this type of behavior, right?
Right.
You remember all the cartoons back in the day with the white people, and then they had these crows that be sitting there, some black crows, and they'd be sitting in there, and they were like, and they would always be co-signing. You remember?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember funk ass shit. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, but I remember. Like Tom and Jerry had that old mammy up on that. That pissed me off.
Those crows have always been the symbol of blackness, and so when I see Butterbean and Biscuit, that's who I think of. Them two crows, and it's like even in Wizard of Oz, the crows was black. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, folks like that. The only thing I can justify it is not justify, but to understand it is that they must be getting some kind of big check on the back end that no one's saying.
They're getting a fat check. Look,
They're
their
getting
weeds
something.
is doing good, bro.
Yeah.
Their weeds is whipped. Donald Trump got them set.
You know it. He ain't no racist, Rhonda. He ain't no racist. He bought me a diamond. He bought her silk. Come on, man. When are we ever going to grow up? These babbles. What you're doing is something real, Rhonda. You're not sitting here talking about, we're just going to get better outfits, swimsuits, so girls can shake. No, you're teaching girls personal respect. You're not. They're not out there clowning. They're out there doing something they love, and that's something tangible, but it's not blinkering. It's not like a brand new board or some gold or some diamond. Now that stuff will come, obviously, but that's not the point. The point is you want to empower these young girls, these young boys, these young people in general to be better them.
Yeah, so that's all I said. And I usually will hold on to a person. We've had to cut some people, but now don't get me wrong. That's one part of the military ain't left, and that's that part where if you get beaten, you don't make the grade, you gonna go back to company. But yeah. So we've had to cut some people, and I mean the realism of the people and their aspirations. Maybe sometimes, the black girls go in them beauty salons and they'll have a picture of like Holly Berry and looking like Fred Berry. And like, you gotta make me look like this. And the poor little hairdresser is like, well, what we'll do? I mean, I'm not Zazu. I can't just create some new person, And so, and I think people honestly think people are really like that in real life. And it's really not like that. The way that we've all been able to approach this with such honesty, I think is being respected. Now, we done heard the signs of, hey, y'all got to be like, black. When you're talking about corporations, they don't want you to be that black. They love that you are black, but they don't want you to be that black. Can you turn that down a little bit? I see when they tell me to turn it down, see, they don't know the length and breadth of how ignorant that we can be as black people. And so if they say, oh, well, turn it down, well, even if I was turned up, they still would know. If I just go, oh, I thought you said turn it down. That is me turned down. They don't know. They always act like they know. They don't know. They have no idea. And so when they say tone it down, I mean, I'm not toning down anything, right?
No.
I'm still going to deny things that I think we shouldn't be a part of. I don't believe in tokenism. I'm not going to go in a corporate structure and start going against my own beliefs and my own vision to just be, in the headlines for 5 seconds. This is a longevity project. This is a foundational project that we're working on right now. And so we've taken our time. But I want to add a footnote about black men, and it's very detrimental to black women that serve. Each black man who has served has, in some way, been condescending, disrespectful, or disruptive to progress. And I think, and it's been happening year after year after year. I mean, it's a non-stop cycle. It's almost like as soon as they see you go, right?
Right.
They don't want to be the wind under your wing. They want to now take the bird and drive it themselves. Right?
Thank you for warming up the car.
Yeah, and now you want to take over. I don't know how many times I've been told, listen, when you go in there and talk to the WSL, this is how you should talk to them white people. Rhonda, you can't talk to them white people the way you talk. No, black men can't talk to them white men like that, but Rhonda can. I don't know what y'all doing. That's y'all business.
That's what
y'all want to do. I'll talk to them any old type of way I want. And when I went in there, that's exactly what I did. Talk to them any old type of way. I even told them straight in their face. This is Oprah's ex-president I was talking to. I looked him dead in his face and I said, listen, if it wasn't important for black people to be included in surfing, I wouldn't have got up at 3 o'clock this morning and drove down here for this 15-minute meeting to get back in my car and drive another 8 hours to get back home.
Oh, wow.
And then Eric Logan, who is was Oprah's right-hand man, was just like, oh, don't worry. Don't think that we didn't catch that. We caught everything that you just did and everything that you just said. Matter of fact, while I was standing in there, we were presented. I asked to work with them, and then they in the process they had hired a intern to handle Black people, right?
Right.
Fine, whatever. Because I didn't want to talk to you. You know me. I don't want. Go ahead. If you need somebody in the middle,
Translate
that. Yeah, and translate. Go ahead, do your thing. And so they gave her somebody, and this girl came from a community program. We were sitting in there. She did her little presentation on Black Girl Surf and what she thought that WSL could do for us, blah blah blah. And I said, I didn't know if y'all was serious when I came down here. I said, because listen, when she called me, she got a hold of me. I was like, who are you again? And she was like, I'm from the WSL. So I went. And Jesse was sitting across the table, and Jesse's a pro surfer. So I look at Jesse and I go, Jesse, did I not ask you if this girl was the real deal? And I said, the reason why I was so shocked is because I've never heard of a Black person working in this building or for the WSL or the ASP at no time. And I mean, this dude, 2 people down from me, all of a sudden just reached on out and he was like, well, we're going to hire her. He didn't even know what position he was going to hire for. He just created one right to Johnny on the spot. They hadn't sent her an offer letter, nothing. They got it all a job. I mean, the truth was the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. I didn't come here to play with y'all. I came here to tell the truth so that we can get access that we need now.
Yes.
What we didn't have before. You want content? We'll give you content all day. We have to beach every day. That's nothing for us. But you're going to give us something. Like we need to, because the first thing Eric Logan said, he leaned in and he was like, do you need transportation? And you know what that means. And it's Eric Logan, and he's talking about transportation. I'm waiting on Oprah to give me a truck. No.
Here's looking underneath your seat. There's the key.
Says, I'm putting it in the universe. Oh, please give us a truck because we do. That's who our biggest cost is transportation. And
Wow.
It'd be nice if we could get a van so we could actually, because between the renting of the cars or the actual truck, right? Because we have to carry multiple boards.
Right.
So even if we have an SUV, we need a truck and we just don't have one. Or my family only has one. And so when we rent those have a hefty price tag on it, and then you have to worry about hotel and food. Whereas if you had one of these conversion, I would even take a Scooby-Doo van, as long as it had a thing. You remember those old VW West Bayliss?
Yes.
I'd even take that because it has a kitchen in it. We don't need something, but it would save us thousands of dollars. I'm serious. Last year, we probably took in about $16,000 in donations and spent over 12 just on transportation alone.
Wow. That's a huge cost.
Mm-hmm. It's huge because we have to travel. We have to go. We have to go from this beach to this beach. Sometimes this beach don't have waves, so we got to hit this other beach. And the thing for me is I'm more reserved where we go surf because we're always gas conscientious, right?
Yes.
So if we had somewhere where we could just park and we knew that the surf was coming up the next day, we wouldn't have to worry about the going back and forth in traffic, right? Because you have to get up early to do this and come back in traffic. So it's a pain. And then if you go from Los Angeles to San Jose like I do, I don't know anybody. I said Haji, she's probably the only West African that's been to LA as many times in 6 months as Haji. Because literally, at one point we went down 3 times in 1 week.
Wow. That travel. Is there any way you can relocate your base of operation closer to the ocean? Maybe not down LA, but maybe San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, it'd be nice. But see, I live in the most expensive area.
So less crime.
I live in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh,
so even though I'm in San Jose, I have a 500-foot apartment. It's $2,500 a month.
Wow, that's so excessive. That's so much money. People don't realize that until you start actually writing that check and handing it over every month. You start crying at about 6 months.
I'm going to tell you why I cry. Because I've been in this apartment for 10 years. This is why I cry. It's because when I came here, it was $700 a month.
Wow. Over 10 years, it ballooned that much?
Oh, yeah. Well, the housing
Jeez.
costs in San Jose are enormous. You have to make $250,000 a year just to buy a house here.
Where the hell are these people working at?
Adobe, Google, uh, Apple, Stanford. I mean, there's so many companies. Oracle, all of the major tech companies are here in the Bay Area. Facebook's here. I mean, everybody's here.
So if they ever
eBay's
move
here.
out, though,
Yahoo's
then
here.
that's
Huh?
if those big companies that you just named ever moved out, like say go to Mother China, the people they really serve, and if they ever moved out, then that whole housing, that whole economic area would collapse.
Happened in 2007. It literally did. My parents lost their house.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Everybody lost. There was so many people that lost their house because then at that point, remember they were selling those those refis. Remember those? And
Yes,
then finally, what caused the housing crisis? Okay, well that started in San Jose, and so my parents got caught up in that too. And I remember those people always coming to the door too. They would like door to door salesmen
because they're making
selling.
bank. Every
Oh
deal
yeah, but then
they're making bank. I'll go door to door too. Hey, Ronnie, hey, you need to refinance this apartment. I got a great plan for you. If I know I'm going to get
yep,
5 G's out of the deal.
yep. And my mom was paying $700 a month to like $3,600 a month, and she couldn't
Wow.
keep up with it after my dad died. And so, you end up having to get rid of the family home. But that's what happened. And then, right, Obama fixed it, right?
Right.
So he fixed the Bay Area with all of the loans that he was giving out. Okay, so we started producing again. And what did they do? What did white people do? Bought all of the houses from all the way up, and then called this an exclusive area. San Jose is the most expensive place in the country right now.
That's outrageous. That's like gentrification 2.0.
Oh, it was. It was. It was. People were living in the creeks. They're still living there now. They actually emptied the creek out, and then I guess they like migrated back down there. But literally, people from high school and stuff, people that lived here their whole life, you could come to San Jose and people are just lined up on the freeway, on the side, on the
Stop it.
railroad track, on the side. It's just like insane here. Is the gap in wealth is just outrageous. Like you can't a house, the median price in San Jose for a house is like $1.1 million.
Oh, stop, man. You're killing me. You're killing me.
My
I couldn't.
parents bought their house in 1979 for $72,000 on the market for $1.8 million right now.
Damn. All that wealth. Talk about wealth redistribution. Way to go, Obama. Yes, you made it possible for these blood-sucking leeches to just totally devastate decent folks and their homes. Yes. Way to go, federal government.
Yeah, well, then look what Bush had done before that. At least it was on a crime back. I mean, Bush just emptied out the whole kitty. He was just like, let me just go ahead and blow the dust out the bottom of the jar. For us in the tech, because we were all in tech, and that's another reason why I got out of tech too, is we were all starting to get laid off. Companies were going bankrupt. I mean, it was like a you could
Domino
feel it.
effect.
You knew it was happening. Yeah, there was one company after another, and it became a business for me, right? So when the company that I was a CFO for went bankrupt, the guys downstairs who were in the same building, because it was like an incubator program, and the guys downstairs they needed a CFO, so I went down there. Well, I ended up doing their bankruptcy. So then I ended up making that a business, and what I was doing from like 2000 to 2004, I think, was just closing down businesses that had gone bankrupt, and I was just doing their finalization of their bankruptcy paperwork and making sure all the stocks, all that financial stuff was like closed down. But it became a business for me. I was making like $100 an hour at that point. Yeah. You could charge anybody. Like, cause my dad said, let me tell you something, this is a military thing too. My dad said, go be a bean counter. I didn't want to be a bean counter. I wanted to be a fashion designer. He said, I don't care. You can be a fashion designer all you want, play around. But go and learn how to count beans, because in any company, the accounting person is the last person to go.
Wow.
No truer word said than that. And that's exactly what I did. And that's how I ended up, in the position where I was just closing down business. I mean, I was getting millions of dollars for these people. Like, literally, I drove to Sacramento and got these people $1.5 million because these white boys didn't even go down and file for a business license. Like, I had to go do that. And then I got to go file their paperwork up in Sacramento. because they hadn't done that because the angel investors from Japan weren't going to release the money. And they had no clue how to even run a business. And these boys, that's how it was. This was like a gold mine. And then Bush just tanked it out.
It was that pretzel knock on the head.
Everybody was doing good when we had Clinton. Everybody was feeling happy in the tech industry. And then Bush came, and then it was all gone. It was just like, it was like a nightmare 4 years. You know what I mean? It was just like, it just spun out of control. For me, I made a lot of money during that time, but for other people, my friends, they were like killing themselves because they were losing all their 401ks.
Oh, I bet.
I'm old enough that, yeah, I'm almost retirement age now. So, yeah, they were losing their 401ks. Everybody was losing so many stocks. Like, I remember, this was funny. One of the people that I was working for had offered me stocks instead of salary, right?
Oh, okay.
And I was like, and so I said, because of course, if you're a CFO, you're watching the stocks, especially if you're in tech. And I knew the stocks well enough that I was just like, no, I don't think that's going to work for me. I said, I'd rather have the cash. And then there was this time where they were doing really well, and they was like, oh, I was like, okay, let me get the stock. And he was like, no, we can't, because the stock was doing good. And he was like, no, you can't get it. I said, oh, okay. And so they gave it to the white girl, and I ended up having to get this white girl fired because she was stealing money. She was embezzling from the company. I'm a bean counter, right? So I count beans. I'm watching every penny that comes out. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So this chick you just gave it to, I think they gave her like 10,000 shares of their company. And then I said, well, listen, this is what she did, and she got fired that day.
Wow.
And then they said, Rhonda, do you want stocks? And I said, no. I'll tell you, that was the best decision I ever made because I still have their bank book in the closet,
right?
From when they put that girl over me, and then when they hired a Japanese man to come in and sign off on my work without checking on me.
Oh.
And they paid him $4,000 a week to come in and sign off on my ledgers,
and he
my
did.
report. He didn't even check them because he knew I was a bean counter. A bean counter there's a difference between an accountant and a bean counter. The bean counter knows every single bean and knows where that bean came from.
Right.
Accountant just looking at the number. Right. So he knew that I was down to the penny. So he didn't ever have to worry about the bank books ever not being balanced. And so this is what he told me, because finally one day I was like, Jerry, I said, Jerry, why do you keep getting these checks from these dudes? You make like $12,000 a month on these dudes, and you can see that they're going bankrupt. Because I told them they were already top heavy with the management. They just don't hire anybody, right?
Right.
So I'm trying to tell you, you're running out of money here. You can only go on $1.5 million for so long. And so I said, you're real top heavy, so you might want to rethink some of these options. And they didn't listen to me. And Jerry, and he says, these white boys going to pay me, I'm going to keep taking a check. And I thought about it. He's Japanese dude. Right? They probably talked down to him and all that shit.
Oh, you know it.
So, or his parents was in an internment camp or some shit, or otherwise he wouldn't have said these white boys.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, he knows where he stands. He knows where he stands.
At that point, exactly. And I didn't even get offended at that point. I knew exactly where he was. But like I said, I have their Bible in my closet because it's a reminder to me how I tried to tell white men that they were running out of money and they were about to lose their business, and they didn't want to listen to me. So I was a black female. Jerry wasn't going to tell him because he was getting $12,000 a month.
And the chick that was ripping them off that they put ahead of you wasn't going to tell them shit either.
And then you're going to have the nerve, because you don't even have no money to even go get a storage unit. You got the bold-faced nerve to ask me to put all of your equipment in my mama's garage. So they didn't even have money for storage.
But they had money. See, that passed up. I'm sorry, that passed up.
And then they couldn't even have money to pay me. They was like, Rhonda, can you sell these computers? And then, that'll be your salary.
No.
I was like, I said, I'll sell these computers, but you still, I don't know what y'all going to do. Sell them Mercedes y'all went out and bought. They went out and bought Mercedes all kinds. They went crazy with that $1.5 million. So, that's why I work for myself now. Why am I going to go out and make $1 million for somebody else?
Right.
When I can do it myself. I obviously can go get it because I got theirs for them. So you just keep that miracle going.
real quick, just jumping back real quick. I know we're going to wrap it up here soon. I'm just going to stay about an hour. When you was closing those companies, do you know any of the backstories with the workers? Were they able to find new work, or did they kill themselves, just dissipate into nothingness? What happened with the workers, to the best of your knowledge?
To the workers of my building?
Yeah, the
okay,
companies.
So tech, that was crazy because IT was the first one to go, which is crazy because the whole business was about IT. So they were going to make a browser. Well, basically, they were going to make Google, right? Before Google became Google. So, and that literally ran out of money the day that they were supposed to go to do the show to present this product. So what ended up happening when they came back was they fired the whole IT department. And they got interns from local tech school, right? Which is crazy because the whole business was centered around IT. I actually met the guy that was even popular. He just got tech guys. He would just hire tech people from Craigslist before it became what it is right now. And he's just a little nerdy guy, but a real sweet guy. But just he had the best model of any of us because all he did was just say, okay, here's a tag, click on that and you'll have this thing you can buy, right? Or this person you can hire. And so you just have to buy into Craigslist. And so with those type of countries, everybody went to Craigslist because we all knew these guys. They went back to Yahoo. They went back to Google. They went back to their places of employment before they started these little one knockoff, like two dudes from Yahoo got together and they decided that they were going to build this company, right? They didn't even have a name for it. They just grabbed somebody else's name real quick, right? I didn't even know that name was taken. So when I went down there to get a business license, I was like, you can't use this name. Did anybody do a name check on this thing? And they were like, no, what is that?
Look, how could these guys even be able to acquire that?
Meanwhile, the Japanese people are waiting for them to send over all the stuff that I'm scrambling around San Jose and Sacramento to get before they release the funds. They had nothing. But that's what the entitlement is all about. See, you get to see it in real time. They didn't have business license. They was up and doing business. They had a whole IT department. So those guys, yes, they did. And I remember one of the guys, my favorite one, Dan, we started working together on a project and then he just kind of like fell off and disappeared. A lot of the tech guys ended up moving out of San Jose and out of this area and moved to like Austin because that's the sister city for tech.
What?
Yeah. Even my brother went up. And my brother was working here in the tech industry and he got up and left in 2007 when all this happened. He had a huge house here in Gilroy. I can't even imagine how much that house would be worth now. I'm sure he's sick about it, but yeah, he picked up and he moved to Texas. But I hear his house is big too. So.
Well, Texas you can get, is really nice.
You know what I mean. You can get a cheaper. You can get a bigger house cheaper in Texas.
Yes, you can. And like most cities seem really condensed. The cities in Texas are just spread out, so huge. So one last thing before we go, do you got any life wisdom to share with the young people?
I do. Follow your dreams. And I can tell you that on the anniversary of Black Girl Surf Training Camp. Follow your dreams. Because Aju, a year ago, yesterday, got out of a plane with no money at all, not speaking English, with some headphones and a backpack and two bags, and brought herself to the United States to have something better for her life and to follow her dream. And my dream, on the other end of that, was to one day really work with pro surfers. So actually, we both live in our dreams and we're living them and manifesting them together. And that's what you need to do as a community. And I know a lot of times we get confused with attention with love and affection. And that's not the truth. Your community loves you. The media only cares for you as far as the news cycle runs.
Right.
So when you're stabbing your sisters in the back and you're stabbing your brothers in the back, you have to think about it. You got a 24 life cycle on this article that you just, ruined the whole entire relationship over. Is it really worth it? No. And so, and I think with our community, we really do need to start focusing on the bigger picture and not the smaller instant gratification. Because I'm here for the long haul. I'm not going anywhere. And so like I said, if you're out there, you're some little kid want to learn how to surf, or you want to learn how to be in a boat. I don't care. If you want to learn how to, I don't know, be a mortuary attendant.
They make good money. They make a lot of money.
Listen, and you ain't seen me knock them. And carpenters make good money too.
Yes, ma'am.
So whatever you choose, my parents told me 3 things. You're not bound by race, not bound by gender, and sometimes you're not even bound by blood to fulfill your dreams. You are what you want to be. You whatever it is, as long as you. My parents never cared about what I did, as long as I was good at it. Right. Like, oh, I'm gonna be this. Oh, as long as you get at it, I don't care. They didn't care what we were. Right. I started out in tech. My mom wanted me to be an attorney. My dad wanted me to be CFO, which I was. But I wasn't happy. I was a fashion designer. I wasn't this. I wasn't that. Because too many things were disconnected, disassociated. But I'm here where I want to be now.
Yes.
And Haji's where she wants to be now, and we're living our dreams, and we're proof that it happens. We're living proof that it happens.
That's what I'm talking about. That's a victory, y'all. No victimization over here. Only victory.
Only victory. There was no stopping us in the beginning. There's no stopping us now. We're not even done yet. We're just getting started.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm so happy, that you were able to come on tonight. I know I tried to get you on a couple of times, but like you said, you're extremely busy, and I recognize, I don't expect you to come on this show when seeing CNN and all of them's knocking at your door. You know what I mean? I'm so happy for. I just want to let you know I'm totally happy for you, and I want you just to get bigger and bigger, and increase your boundaries.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and thank you for having me on the show. It's always interesting. I come over here. It's so different from any of the other interviews, but it's an honest conversation, which I love to have.
Yes.
It's these manufactured ones that I have to give, repeatedly over and over again that I don't feel connected to. So I do appreciate it, especially when it's my people too, because surfing ain't easy for us. And it ain't easy for y'all, to accept the fact that, yep, Black people's getting our hair wet. We're doing all that. But we are here, and we're not going anywhere, and it's only going to get better for all of us.
Yes.
But community is first.
Now, do you have any events before you go that
we do
coming up?
We do. So we have a celebrity kid event on August 18th. I'm going to be on the Karen Hunter show on the 23rd on Sirius Radio. Tomorrow I'll be on Freedom Now, and that's D-Don's program. So I took over for D-Don. That was a major accomplishment, and it was funny because his widow was just like astounded. And besides, we're running our camps in Los Angeles and in San Jose now. So we're pretty busy, and we're still filming. That's right, we're still filming, and we still have a movie deal. So we're right now.
You're so busy. I'm serious. Because it takes a lot of work to be putting events together. I mean, I was an event coordinator for a number of years back in the early 2000s, so I know. But you're doing it once again, though, for the right reasons. Yes, there's a financial gain at the end of the tunnel, but the personal and perspective growth that these people are going to get, the children and even the young people that you're going to be dealing with, that's going to be immeasurable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it will be. Mm-hmm.
So
you're absolutely right.
All right. Well, we're just going to wrap it up. We're going to wrap it up right here on a high note for a change.
Right on. Right on. I like that.
All right. Thank you, Sister Rhonda.
Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Bye. Yes, y'all. We did another show. Most High has blessed us. I just want to say thank you all the listeners, everyone who's been watching the program for 2 years now, y'all. 2 years. So this will conclude TPIM SR Live. Today's date, July 19, 2019, the year of our Lord. I ask you all to live your life with integrity, without hate, envy, or greed. And as always, brothers and sisters, let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace and power. I'm out.